Happy New Year, everyone. What is it that they say? New year, new me. What better way to start this year off than by doing BookTube newbie tag version 2.0. If you're new to my channel, my name's AJ. This is a space where we talk about anything and everything about books. So welcome. So I've got all the questions written in my phone, so I will be referring to my phone as I am doing this video tag. So question number 1, why did you start the channel? So the reason that I started the channel was to find the bookish community that I can interact with, be part of, talk about the books that I like, maybe talk about the books that I also didn't really like, and have that same crowd with that same passion that I share with books. The second reason why I started this channel is about representation. So I've always been a fan of books and I've always been a viewer of BookTubers. However, personally, I felt like there was a lack of representation for people who look like me. I know 2 main BookTubers who are in this space that are quite famous. I'm not sure if I just don't know all the others, but if you do follow any, please link their channel down below and I'd love to support them. So that's the second reason why I started this channel. Representation was very important for me. So question number 2, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to YouTube? Well, how do you answer this question? We're all so unique, but what makes me me, I suppose, is I'm a little bit neurotic, so maybe you'll see that in some of my videos. Because the way that's how my brain functions as well, I don't tend to stick to one genre. I tend to stick to a lot of books. So I read fantasy, sci-fi, I read a little bit of YA, I read some horror, anything under the sun I tend to read. So if there's a unique perspective maybe that I can bring to BookTube is that I know that there are some channels that specialize in, say for example, they only read solely fantasy, they only read solely romance. I read everything. So maybe this is a space where you can kind of go and see if any of the books that you'd like to read is something that I've already covered. So question number 3, what are you most excited about BookTube? I am really excited to share my thoughts on books that I have read, talk about them with the community. I'm also excited about being able to recommend books to people. So I didn't know this, but someone that I actually work with has followed my channel and they've actually started reading some of the books that I've recommended. I didn't know this. They've just kind of mentioned it to me in passing and I was very surprised, and they said they really loved my recommendation. So that is something I'm really excited and looking forward to doing this channel. So question number 4 is, why do I love reading? So I suppose with any book lover, it's the escapism that the book gives you. Another thing why I do love reading as well is, it's a very weird answer, it's the sense of control. I know, because say for example, like things in our life, we can't just get a pause, things just needs to keep going. But whereas if I am reading a book, I feel like I'm in control. If things are getting a little bit too intense or they're getting a bit too heavy, I know that I can just pop a bookmark in and come back to the book later, give myself a breathing space and come back to it later. It is similar to life, you give yourself a breathing space and then you come back, but I just feel like you just have much more control in a book than you do in reality. Question number 5, what series got you into reading? So I remember as a young child, I was reading the Nancy Drew books and that really got me excited. Like I just couldn't put those books down. I really had to know what was happening, what was the answer to the cases that she was trying to solve. So that got me into reading. Question number 6, what question would you ask your favorite BookTuber? Hey, wanna do a collab? Question number 7, what challenges will be the hardest when it comes to BookTube? So as I've said, this is the version 2.0. I've been doing BookTube for about just over 4 months now. And I think the number 1 thing would be consistency. I know everybody talks about how hard it is to actually have a YouTube channel or a BookTube channel, but you don't actually really realize it until you're doing it. So it's maintaining that consistency. And then the second challenge that I think, well, it's not a challenge. I think what I just need to pay more attention is my reviews actually within themselves. But I have to remember that, literature is an art. Each author has written a book and, this is a piece of them and this is their art. I may not necessarily like it, but I have to respect that they've dedicated some time and love doing this craft. So I need to critique it without being disrespectful, because you know what I mean when you're just around people people that like to read, when you're doing that opinion, say for example, if I tell my partner, if I don't like the book, I just kind of go, I hate this book. Whereas where I'm doing this and sharing it to everyone, I need to be more mindful and say what aspects I actually liked about it, what I didn't really work for me, rather than just plainly pointing out that I didn't like the book. Question number 8, when did I start reading? I think I was about 8 when I started reading. Where do I read? So books wise, I do read hard copies of books. I love buying books, probably consumerism problem happening over here, but I love buying books. I love special editions of books, so I like to read hard copies. I also have my Kindle. I read on my Kindle. I love my Kindle, as you know, I'm subscribed to Amazon Kindle Unlimited. And I also read on my tablet. So I've got this app called Everend. It also has a huge collection of audiobooks and books, so I read on that. So I read on my tablet using that. That is also a very good app. If you haven't downloaded it, I recommend you do. It's a paid subscription, but check it out. And finally, question number 10, what kinds of books do I read? So I love reading fantasy. I also eat up anything young adult, so I don't really care what genre it is. As long as it's young adult, I tend to love reading it. It's just an easy read, so you know, I eat that up. I've recently gotten into thrillers and horror, so I'm kind of exploring my horizon in that field. And I read a little bit of sci-fi. So those are the main genres that I read. So that's the BookTube newbie tag. Hopefully you got to know me a little bit as a reader and what I like and what I don't like. And until next time, happy reading.